Good afternoon, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. You saw by the information in the above text, you'll see I'm talking about some hospitals today, and foundlings and orphans, and how that all works. And you'll see up there at the very top of the post, we start out by talking about MASH, and everybody remembers the show MASH, I'm sure, except for some of the younger generations, of course. But for those of us that are ancient and old and been around for a while, we remember the show MASH. It's a military advanced surgical hospitals. And what it is that's where the original hospitals were developed. They had a need for hospitals on the war fields, and so they set up these MASH units. And at that time, when they first developed, of course, they weren't called MASH units. They were just units that were constructed to help, at that generating time, hack off limbs and stuff. And it eventually became known as MASH units. Like I said, medical advanced surgical hospital, military advanced surgical hospitals. And today we have hospitals all over the place because of convenience. Today it's in the modern realm, it's more of a commercial realm, and obviously, and so it became a matter of convenience because we used to have door-to-door doctors, medical physicians that went door-to-door, did home visits, I guess. You didn't necessarily go door-to-door, but home visits. And today, like I said, the commercial convenience is so that those doctors can get together in one group, save on rent and expenses in regards to being able to help larger masses of people. And that is the intent. To save money in saving lives. When we talk about these hospitals today, they weren't originally known as foundling hospitals. The first foundling hospital was in England in 1739 or 1793, and it was based on the premise that there were a lot of foundlings. They had orphanages, and they had a lot of foundlings at those orphanages. Well, as you again see in the post, there's a difference between a foundling and an orphan. And when you read those differences, one is given up by the parents, and that is known as a foundling. And obviously they're given up by the parents, or quite possibly another family member because the mother died and was single. Possibilities. And so anyway, an infant or a young one left at an orphanage was considered a foundling because of the presumption that the parents or mom and dad gave them up. When we speak about an orphan, if you look at that definition, the definition of an orphan is a child or a young one who has been not allowed parents. And that's a different context. What we're talking about there is an orphan would then be somebody that was taken away from their parents and not allowed their mom and dad, because their mom and dad's still alive. And they weren't given up, they were taken. Okay? So there's a main difference. And then today we see the same kind of thing in the hospitals. I think it was 89, they actually instituted the hospitals here on the American soil as foundling hospitals. And they do that because they're taking in people that are lost. And then when they're birthed, they're transported from that jurisdiction of lost to their jurisdiction, a military jurisdiction. derived on hospitals, military advanced surgical hospitals. That's what your public hospital system is today. They are military hospitals. I've told people this before. We're living in a military zone, federal zoning improvement plan for military purposes of acquisitions. They're acquisitioning foundlings. And we talk about foundlings even in the sense of, quote, mature men that were found on the war fields but weren't recognized, weren't cognized by their own military records, and therefore must be foreign. And their foreign entities lost them on the field. So now we have lost at sea and lost on the war field. They carried their jurisdiction inland. They've taken their naval forces across the sea, and they've infiltrated the land, and they've found something that was actually there to begin with. Something that was actually belonging there to begin with. This is the concept of the discovery doctrine. This is the concept of the post. You know, the United States Post Office. They go to a new land, and the first thing they do upon discovering that land is they post a flag. And then they go out and find things. They acquire them upon finding them. They institute inventories of what they've found after they went out and searched. Or they provide a list known as an inventory of things that they're searching for so that they can find them. Inherently violating everyone's Fourth Amendment right to freedom to be secure in their persons, places, properties, and effects. And they're doing it on your own soil. The day you're born live in life, and calling it a birth, which is an acquisitional document for financial purposes that once certified has now become a financial instrument. Instrumentalizing the whole thing about life and playing you all the while. Social Security Administration, IMF, Federal Reserve, Treasury of IMF, known as Treasury, not Department of the Treasury. That's another subcorporation of the United States. And they're all contracting, quasi-contracting. And it's all fraud. Federal Reserve Federal Reserve Accounting Unit Denomination. Fraud. All instituted through a taxation system for using Federal Reserve notes. And what do? They send you a note, calling it a bill, and they've got bonds saying that you're going to do what they imply you're going to do. Because then they're going to threaten to enforce any penalties, fines, fees, levies, known again as taxes. So they're taxing you on not paying a tax that you're not subject to. And all done under military hospitals and foundlings and orphans. People that are lost at sea and lost on the war field and acquired. It's sad, people. If you educate yourself on all this stuff, you see it all, and you're able to stand up and rebut it. Stand and rebut it. You don't have to write it down to rebut it. You can do so verbally. And like I said, you got to do your research. And then research it again. And then research it again. And deal with things in life when you lose all your data and end up researching again. Everything that you already researched. See, everything's a play on the words. And the words are being played against you. A warrant. A war rant. Oh, guess what it is in the financial system? A warrant is a call warrant or a put warrant on the stock exchange. So when they write that little commercial warrant for your arrest, that's all it is. They're playing the market. They're betting that you don't know this information. They're betting you don't cognize the reality of how much it plays in your life. As you seek out all these material substances that they say you can have because they've acquired them by telling you that you're required to register your items, your belongings, things that are proper to you, proper T-Y, proper to you, proper to yourself, properties. You better cross your I's and dot your T's. Huh? Wake up. Become aware. Get out of that slumber. I suggest everybody, I urge everybody, please read a book. In this particular instance, I'm hoping you'll read a book called Hitler's Willing Executioners. Because as we go in life and we see things happening, it takes decades. But then by the time we realize it, we end up in concentration camps without guns, without weapons. And so we need to start using our most powerful weapon now. It's our own mind. Become aware. Anyway, I hope you people understand or comprehend what I'm trying to convey here, is that everything they put forth to you is a financial, is in the process of becoming a financial acquisition. Everything they do becomes a financial acquisition, and it comes with a risk. That risk is your knowledge of discovering what bonds them to the bills that they present in their fictitious notes. I suggest you learn how to play the music the way it's being played against you, so you can turn it around. And anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So get on that stand and say it. Don't write it down. Say it. In the beginning was Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with truth, and the Word was truth. Just learn the truth. Simple. Anyway, if it weren't for you people, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless you. Love you. Have a great day. Bye.